Every day, Nigerians wake up and find a way.
But lately, survival has become more expensive than many people can explain.
There's a saying, may Nigeria not happen to you. But Nigeria happens to people every day, in food prices, in rent, in transport, in jobs, in businesses trying to stay alive.
So we are asking Nigerians one question.
What has survival cost you?
It is obvious to the blind that cost of living is really choking. It's killing the living. Even at the moment, the minimum wage is not even doing justice to whatever is on ground. So, I mean, maybe only about 2 to 5% of the population can say whatever they are earning legally is covering up for whatever lifestyle they want to live, even basic lifestyle. So we are just managing at the moment.
As a matter of fact, you have your standard income, your stable 9 to 5, then the one 9 to 9 that you will do to just try and survive, to hold on, to be normal in Nigeria, basically.
The Briefing Room Town Hall is a space for Nigerians to speak about Nigeria, for Nigerians. Not a courtroom, not a shouting match, a safe space for truth, solutions and action. Nigerians will share their stories. Experts will offer possible solutions, and the people will scrutinize those solutions.
Because people should not only be heard.
Where we can, they should be helped.
Good evening and welcome to the Briefing Room Town Hall.
This is a live civic conversation where everyday Nigerians come together to talk about the realities they face and the solutions they want to see.
There's a phrase we know too well. May Nigeria never happen to you.
But sadly, the truth is Nigeria happens to people every day.
Every day.
It happens when food prices rise. It happens when transport costs double. It happens when salaries no longer last till month end.
The briefing room is not a courtroom. Nobody is here to win an argument.
This is a room for honest conversations, listening, solutions, and accountability.
And today, we're asking a simple question. What is the true cost of survival in Nigeria? I'm Andrew Isaiah Priye.
And I am Kelvin Raphael.
This is the Briefing Room Town Hall. We're not alone today. We also have Nigerians in the studio with us to share how the cost of living is affecting their daily lives.
And we have 3 amazing storytellers also joining us today, and they would be narrating their different stories and what survival has cost them in Nigeria.
And to help us respond to these stories, we also have 3 distinguished panelists with experience and insight into the issues being discussed.
Our first panelist is Dr. Segun Odunayo. Let's put our hands together for him. Welcome to the show, sir. He is an award.
I'm no PhD yet, no. I'm working towards it.
Okay, so he's an award-winning journalist, and he was chosen because he follows national issues closely and reports on everyday realities shaping public life. So let's make a big welcome to him again. Welcome, sir.
Amazing, really, really amazing. Also joining us is Mr. Emmanuel Agida, an entrepreneur, leadership expert, and governance reform advocate. He was chosen to be a part of this because of his experience in leadership, economic development, and understanding systems that shape opportunity and survival in Nigeria. Please welcome with us, Mr. Emmanuel Agida.
Welcome to the show. Also, we have with us Kolade Adepoju, a seasoned entrepreneur and real estate executive. He was chosen because of his experience in business, housing, and understanding of economic pressures affecting everyday Nigerians. Please let's welcome Kolade Adepoju. You're highly welcome, sir. Before we hear from our invited storytellers, let's hear the temperature of the room. We're about to hear real stories, the real life experiences of everyday Nigerians.
And to do that, we're going to ask a couple questions. So please, if it applies to you, kindly signal with a raise of hand. Can we get into this now? All right, so the first question here is, who has changed what they eat because of rising costs? Okay, nobody here?
Nobody? That's very interesting. Okay, so who has had to support more family members recently?
Quite a number of us. Okay, so who has considered leaving Nigeria because of the current economic hardship? Wow.
You've thought, oh, Jackma. You haven't thought? Oh, okay. That's very interesting. All right. Who runs a business that has become harder to sustain?
Nearly everybody.
Nearly everyone. Okay.
I see. So who has a job but still feels financially? Oh, we're not even done asking. We still feel financially insecure. Wow, quite a number of us. Quite a number of us.
Who has delayed paying rent, school fees, and even healthcare bills? Oh, okay. Very interesting. All right, so we are going to be having honest conversations, and please, we do not want you to attack anybody. If you have a counter opinion, you have to be respectful about it as well. Please, thank you so much.
All right, so before we begin, right, we're going to agree on simple rules. We're going to speak honestly and respectfully, right? Because today we're putting real faces and real stories to these realities, right? We have storytellers and we have the panelists, and we also have members of the audience, right? So it is going to be a very beautiful conversation that we're having here today.
You are watching the Briefing Room Town Hall. We'll be right back.
We'll be right back. Stay with us. Welcome back, and thank you for sticking with us.
Statistics can tell us what is happening, but stories help us understand what it feels like.
We're now inviting our first citizen to share their experience. All right, so going over to just introduce yourself and, tell us what you do and share your experience with us.
Okay, so my name is Fumi Akinshola. I teach. I'm also a TV producer. And then, like the average Nigerian, I have many side hustles. I compare, I organize training. So, yeah.
Before we move on to the next person, you're just going to tell us, right, what is it like, surviving Nigeria? Someone made a comment, we interviewed someone sometime, and he said the cost of living is killing the living.
Yeah.
Right? So, what part of your experience is in that?
I think it's just like I don't know about the rest of the world though, and I'm sorry if many of you here might be airlights and be living very, posh lives. So for example, I was mentioning it behind the scene that my rent used to be 1 million naira. It's now 2.5 million naira, no negotiations, no notice, and I have to pay it because the cost of moving out is much more, and because I like my area, it's central, the power is still okay, it's a good place, so I have to find out money. And so like we say in Nigeria, you have to double your hustle to do, and of course we know that in this time foil has increased. Foil has been fluctuating. One time is 1,300, another time I think yesterday I bought it for 1,206 naira at a particular filling station. And so same with the electricity bill. I was reading recently about how even the data tariffs are going to increase. So to send a text message now is 6 naira, they're going to increase that as well. You have to balance all of this with everyday life and bills, your rent bills, and then also not only just your rents, they are everyday bills. So you pay your security guard, you pay your estate dues, you pay all of these things, which are just normal. They're not even flexing things, they're just normal things that you have to deal with. You have to pay electricity, you have to pay water bill, you have to just pay before you even do baby girl life. You understand? And baby girl life is not even like baby girl life that maybe I'm going to Paris or somewhere, or even Yanoworo or somewhere, or it's just to be able to just even put powder on my face, put lipstick, and just tell my friends today that, okay, let's go to the cinema, let's go and watch film. But now, if you're even watching film cinema, you are doing a lash age because you can just download it. I'm sorry to the filmmakers in the building. It's not as if we don't want to support your hustle, but it's expensive. You get what I'm saying? Yeah. So just that everyday life. I have a car, and there's sometimes I don't take my car out. I park it and I enter. I don't even do Uber. Like I said, I'm not doing push with anybody. I enter a bus. If you see me, you say, auntie, is there something wrong with? There's nothing wrong with my car. I want to manage my fuel today. I enter a bus with everybody. Argue with the conductor to collect my change, because that's the life that we are living. I'm not forming, if I'm forming posh for you, unless you're going to give me money so I can continue forming that posh, because I have the realities of everyday life that I have to face. So, and this is me, that I have several side hustles. I have 2 jobs, and then I'm wondering how the other average person that doesn't have as much skill as I have, how is he surviving? And that's why, and you see, we say a lot of things, and we go on about how, oh, people are going to prostitution now. Is there no other way? People are going into Yahoo now. Is there no other way? Let me tell you, the truth is, the girl that opens her breast first with her short skirts, she will collect money faster and sharper. What are they called now? Runs girl, whatever. Than the girl that got a first class from wherever it is before she gets her job. Even with getting the first class, well, maybe somebody will still want to rub your back, and or your father knows somebody that knows somebody before they can put you in. You have to be somebody exceptional. I can remember one time there's this story that trended about the Covenant University guy that got, I think it was best students, who has gone back into repairing phones and all of that, and was talking about how he couldn't, getting a job. So the reality is that everybody is feeling the pinch somewhere. Forget this pancake that we are putting on our faces. Forget all this tyranny that everybody is speaking. Everybody is. And you see that we ask that question about. So yes, I have not stopped what I'm eating, but I've reduced the quality to some way. So, for example, if we used to fry 3 eggs before, now it's 2 or 1.5 egg. We'll look for how we go. So I have a son. We are going to boil 3 eggs. You take 1.5. I take 1.5. You cannot take two like before, because everybody knows that even the chicken now, their food is expensive. So everything has gone up. And if you talk to because I'm also a journalist, so when you speak to everybody, the plumber, the farmer, the local farmer, everything has gone up for everybody, and they're finding a way to survive regardless. So if you remember, even in Ekiti State, because I know every time we talk about insecurities, everybody looks up north. Even in Ekiti State, some people have even had issues with their farms in that place. So people that cannot go to farms to go and that's their own source. So now you can say someone like me can have 3 side hustles. How many side hustles is the farmer going to have to be able to, to do the things that he needs to do? So I don't want to run so long because the other storytellers in the building, but the reality is that it's pinching. So I don't want everybody, and let me just put this out there. If people want to, I can be adopted. If you want to take me abroad, take me. Here I am, take me. Because that's the truth. Because when you ask that question about, I've thought about it many times, and I really did have an opportunity to leave this country several years ago, but I was doing the true Nigerian child. I know this at home, we'll use brick and mortar, we'll build it, we'll put cement. Now the cement have plastered my face, my head is hard. So please, I don't even know how to even tell my story. Let me pass the microphone to
Wait, sorry, before you pass the mic, do you regret not taking that opportunity?
I regret it. Let me just say, like I said, one of my friends came home recently, and he kept asking me that, for me, what are you still doing here? He asked me. There are 2 of my friends also that also lecture outside of the country, and they were telling me about it. And that's why I dislike it a lot when people tell me that thing about, oh, the prices of food have risen here, the prices of food have risen in the same way price of food have risen in Nigeria, that's the same way price of food have risen in Canada. And like I was saying, behind the scenes, we're talking about public schools. Everybody that relocated out of Nigeria, for example, and I hope I'm not speaking too fast because I have that tendency to speak so fast when I'm agitated. When many Nigerians are relocated out of the country, US, UK, Canada, all of their children are in public secondary schools or primary schools. How many of us can put our children in public schools in Nigeria? The average Nigerian does not put, and guess what? Those public schools, the teachers, because I recently worked with an NGO that went wrong, the teachers are fantastic. They're still doing great job under terrible circumstances. They're doing great job, and there are children there who are doing so well. We can't. And when you tell your friends, anybody, ask your average friend that's relocated abroad to just do a short video of the schools that they are putting their children in. They look like the private schools we put our children in. What has happened in those places? The government have put money in those places, and they do not even have as much revenue as the Nigerian government has. Even look at Lagos State. Lagos State enough has the economy of most West African countries. How, those of you that are living in Lagos, please tell me how it is living in Lagos. Does it look like a small London to you? I beg, let me pass the microphone to somebody.
Thank you for sharing that, and we'll pass it to the next person. But please note, right, as she's speaking, right, there are several, I believe your responses are already coming. Their responses are ready. So please let us hear from you. You tell us your name, right, introduce yourself, what you do, and bring us into your Nigerian experience,
My name is Zainab Tamari Oluwaseun.
So can you just speak out a bit for us so we can hear you?
Okay, Zainab Tamari Oluwaseun.
All right, Miss Zainab, you're welcome. So tell us a bit about just like she shared, right? What is your own experience? I mean, the cost of surviving Nigeria. What does that look like for you?
I've gone through a lot. All these expenses, today everything is rise up. Tomorrow they'll still add to it. It's not really okay. For the transport like this, you enter transport for 200. Now it's now 400. For that 100 naira, conductor tells you there is no change and you have to collect the 100 naira so that you join into another if you are going back home. So you can even add it to the next one where you are that you have so that it can take you back home. About the food too, every day. Even you say you want to cook food, it's expensive. You want to buy food, it's still the same thing. No matter what you want to do it. Even rent for now is still the same thing. They have hired the rent. Say the money is not like before again. They have expense the rent due. The NEPA bill is there. Everything is there. And me, I don't rely on someone. I work on myself. And I work on myself. And where I'm working is not that really place that. But I'm doing fine. I'm doing good. Even government are still pursuing us. We will still give them money. They won't thank you, say, thank you for the money. But that money, if I give it to my family, they will be praising me as if, say, I be small God. So I don't even take them as anything. I take them as nothing. Nigeria just day. I don't even see something. I say Nigeria will change. That one doesn't change anything. It's worst thing. I don't see anything change in Nigeria. Before I worked, I take care of my kids. I send money to family. So nobody is telling me, say, take this one. Or one government tell me, say, manage this one. They don't. So I rely on myself and God. I don't rely on them.
Okay, so do you believe in the Nigerian government?
I don't believe in them.
Why so?
They're not doing anything in my life. They're just there. Nigeria is very worst. It's not better. So why will I really believe in them?
So you really believe that at this point there's no hope for Nigeria at all because of
for them,
government?
but that's for Nigeria. It's not for me and my family. It's different.
Okay.
So I don't know for Nigeria.
So you are a Nigerian, so of course whatever happens in Nigeria also affects you, and
it's affecting me, but I thank God I'm surviving myself.
Yeah. So are you going to vote in the upcoming election?
I don't vote.
You're not going to vote?
I don't vote.
Did you?
If you go to vote, they'll give you 2,000. You still line up. If I'm at work, with that minutes that I used to vote, I will know how much I will make within that time. So I don't vote.
All right. Thank you so much for sharing your story. You can pass the mic to the next person. Sorry, please, could you introduce yourself and tell us your story? How are you surviving in Nigeria?
My name is Buluatife Majakudumi, and I'm a business owner. I work in the construction industry, providing building services. As a business owner, I would say that it's been very difficult to survive in Nigeria.
Sorry, please, could you speak up a little bit?
Okay, I would say as a business owner, it's very difficult to survive in Nigeria because we are all trying our best to live. We all want to thrive. We all want to flourish. But at the same time, we've gotten to a point where every business owner, or most business owners, are just trying to stay afloat. We are just trying to, let's just make money. Let's just keep the business going. Most people are no longer thinking about growth in terms of thriving or flourishing, because even when you make the money, the living costs has so much increased. The cost of inflation is so high. As someone who is in the building industry, imagine when you, there are times when your quotes could be valid for up to a year. And now imagine when you submit your bid and your quotation in the previous year, and your client, let's say your client is in the, you're working for a commercial client, or working in the oil and gas industry, or you're working in the telecommunications industry, for instance, you're serving clients there, or you're working in the FMCG industry. Imagine when they still want to give you contracts or give you a job with the bid of the previous year. They do not care whether the price has increased or not. You still have to deliver on the job. And on delivering on the job, you have to squeeze in and absorb some of these inflated prices into your own profits. Your workers don't care if what they see is the price, the amount of your project. Oh, this is a very big project and you want to deliver it. You've made a lot of money, the money is high. But they don't understand the cost to deliver. Now, you are not just going to implement the project, execute the project. Material cost increases every day. The price uncertainty is really high, because you go to the market today, you already submitted your bid and you're expecting to buy cement, or maybe when you're submitting the codes, cement was like 10,000 naira, and then at the point of execution, maybe in 3 months time or in 2 months time, even if it's a private client, you're like, okay, don't worry, we'll do the job. But the client is also looking for money elsewhere, just for him to build his own house, or maybe do a renovation or a maintenance. And when it comes, you want to buy cement, it's 12,500 naira. And the same price, and now imagine you're working with the same quotation, the same price of cement that you would buy in Aja, you won't get that same price. Let's say cement or iron rod or maybe the planks, you won't get that same price in Isolo. It won't be the same price in Amuwo or Dofin.
Yes.
The prices are not the same, but the cost is the same. And who is going to absorb that? You as a business owner. But the clients, the customers, they are not seeing that. Even your workers don't see that. Now imagine transportation cost is high. You have your project. Even if you are a business owner who sells, who trades, you want to pay for your rent. The rent increases almost every time. And now, even with the new tax laws that says that you pay withholding tax, even some agents, when they know that they are to be the one to absorb the withholding tax, they try to make you, the tenant, to pay, and trying to twist the tax laws in order to favor them and make you pay, because they're also trying to avoid the costs. Now that would increase. Now you want to settle your workers, you want to pay for their transport, because if, like for me, with my own business, you want your workers to go to site to work. You want to execute the job, let's say for 10 naira. You still have to take care of the administrative costs. You still need to pay for the for their transportation. And if the job is outside of Lagos, you need to pay for their logistics. Even if it's within Lagos, they can't go back home that same day. You need to pay for the hotel, pay for accommodation.
Yes. So would you say, right, I'm hearing what you're saying. Would you say it is harder now to do business in Nigeria for you? Just quickly tell me in a second, right, to do business in Nigeria today than it was, say, 3-4 years ago?
Yes, very much. It's much harder now to do business in Nigeria.
So you're saying that it is, for you, realistically, the cost of survival has astronomically increased?
Of course, because not just for me getting a job, for me getting a project, for instance, and executing that to the end, that's the outside now delivering it from the market, it has increased and it has affected me. Now imagine when you now get the job, your client who has given you the job is also trying to look for money, is also affected by the inflation cost. Now for instance, you go and get loan from the bank at an interest rate, right? And your client has not pay you as a when due. How do you want to cover that rising interest rates? Now you want to collect a loan for, like, let's say 60 days, 30 days, 90 days. It has exceeded. Your client has not been able to pay, because he is also facing it. So we are facing these issues both internally and externally.
Very true. Now, that's true. I want to thank you, all of the storytellers, for being open with us. It has been really, we have heard quite a number of stories, we have seen some perspectives, and we are going to turn to our experts. From these things that you have heard, right, what do you have to say to each of the storytellers, and what exactly do you think can you speak to as the cause of what they're going through? We want to hear your opinions. We'll start with you.
Yeah, let's start with her. You listen to her story, so let's start with her story. What do you think is the cause of her challenges, and what do you think she can do? Do you think it's a personal problem or an economic issue, a government issue, and what do you think that she can do to address the problem?
The funny thing is, the problems are they're like a tree that has the same roots, different branches, different persons with different stories coming down to the same root. So whatever they take from down is going up. So, it's almost the same problem. Nigerians went to the polls in 2023, and you know, we always do that periodically every 4 years. And we, you know, elected a new president. And the first thing the president did was to announce that fuel subsidy was gone. If you look at that statement on the surface level, brilliant, wonderful, fantastic. Actually, all the major candidates from the various political parties from the major political parties that contested in 2023 campaigned using that. Wonderful, brilliant, without a doubt. But like I said, surface level. And I remember on that day, I was covering, I was at TBS covering the, covering what was happening down there. The Lagos State governor was being sworn in for the second time, the current Lagos State governor. And as we were leaving TBS back to, you know, after everything was done, we noticed that all the fueling stations were locked. I'm talking about that same day, that very same day. And we were all wondering, then social media, boom. It was people saying, I went here, you know, in 5 minutes, everywhere was on fire. I mean, not literally, but, you know, on social media. And that was the beginning of this problem. Because we were having a policy that was directed at us Nigerians without actually having a strong foundation, a base. When you want to build a house, 3-bedroom, 3-story building and all of that, you ensure that the base is very solid. You know, you can't just put a house on empty sand and cement. And that was the beginning of this problem. I went all the way back to trace the problem. And then the same thing happened for FX. You know, there was no more getting FX the way it used to be. Another wonderful policy, but without backing. Then the problem fell on the Nigerian people. The Nigerian president said, we are going to be having buses and cars that wouldn't be using PMS, petrol. We are now going to be going on gas and all of that. Wonderful policies. My president drives a Cadillac. You can Google it. He's not driving one of these buses. Mm-hmm. You want Iya Ahmed, Baba Kim, Mama Cynthia, Brother Rufus to come and start suffering with policies that have not been properly, thought of, really. You know, that's the beginning of the problem, because she was talking about the fact that everybody pays more bills, really, including myself, who is holding this microphone. Because a couple of months ago, we were coming back from church and my landlord gave my wife a letter. My wife just called me and said, bro, that meeting where you did, you know, there's a letter waiting for you here. I just said, open it, of course, open it. Open it and said it was increase in rent, 75%.
What?
My own rent, I'm also a victim. We are all victims in this room, I guess, if we start telling our stories. And I just smiled. I was like, what, nothing now. Because like she said, moving out is more expensive. It's better to pay that money. Mm-hmm. So I just had to do my plus or minus and okay, what are we going to edit? What are we going to add? What are we going to divide and multiply and, you know, and get it going? So this was the genesis of the problem. Statistically speaking, Nigeria has about 63% of its people multidimensionally poor. That is 133 million out of it. You know, we say we are about 200 to 50 million. Yes. You know, we are all, one way or the other, we are mathematics students. When you have missed 63% already out of 100, what is that? Not poor people. Multidimensionally poor, extreme, absolute, complete, comprehensive. You know, so what's the percentage of the rich? So how do you not expect these people not to engage in certain vices?
Not even the rich, the middle class. Before you get it,
the middle class is even being eroded.
We don't have middle class anymore.
In Lagos State now, the least, according to statistics, the least rent payment for a year is between 1.2 to 2 million. Now in Lagos, 2026, today is 26th of June. Now, if you move around 10 people, you see an average person in 1 point something. And I'm not even talking about luxurious homes. I'm talking about just basic, where you can chill, you know, and just live and have a few guests and all of that. You know, and then you look at minimum wage. Minimum wage is 70,000. 70,000 naira is not even enough for lunch. And this is what the average Nigerian worker goes home with. And then you now start saying, why are we having these experiences? Why are we seeing these things? You know, you cannot sow cocoa and then harvest rice. It is not possible. These are things that must happen. And if you are bringing up these policies, there must be comprehensive and absolute solutions in place for the multidimensionally poor people who are in their majority, 63% of 100. So if multidimensional people are 63, then poor, then below average, then average. The rich is, that's why they say, many Nigerians, only if you have 500,000 naira in the bank, and then you are looking at the rich, and then the average guy like you putting on suits, boys will hail you, bro, Safana, finding 1K, now I use, so it's really unfortunate, but that's where we are as a country as of today.
Let us hear from Mr. Emmanuel.
Yeah, thank you so much. I think I want to speak first from the angle of the increase in rent. And for me, I believe that we have not had strong regulation in our housing system. Mm-hmm. What are the rules? What are the policies? What are the regulations for guiding, the tenancy agreements, the rentage, and all of that? And even if I've seen recent news by the state government, especially in Lagos here, saying that some laws have been put in place. What are the implementation metrics? Mm-hmm. How are they following through with this? And you see, I would not always want to tackle leadership from the aspect of the government. Leadership is both at the top and beneath. Nigerians also have problems, not just the government. In fact, the government is a fraction of the followers. You look at the agent today, gets an apartment, and is telling you he wants 20%, 25% of that money as its agency fee for just connecting the landlord to whoever needs the property. So when we look at these things, I think the leadership falls from both those at the top and those beneath. And there needs to be a strong regulation process. How do we regulate cost of goods? How do we regulate both the formal and the informal markets? How do we regulate housing? How do we regulate, every other part of the economy that affect the everyday life of the Nigerian? The moment we begin to take citizens' lives serious, we agree with me that, what Nigerians demand are basic amenities. Yeah. We don't want big houses. We just need a place where we can sleep, where we can have peace of mind, where we can have, the affordable means of eating and feeding and all of that. So the moment the government start prioritizing at least these basic things, transportation costs, housing costs, what regulations are we putting behind to ensure that all these prices are fair enough, both from the end of the consumer, from the end of the producer, and ensure that it is fair enough that nobody is losing. So for me, I think that regulation is really a big problem, and Nigeria's informal sector has not really been regulated. Then I would also want to talk from the angle of policy. My co-panelists spoke about it a bit. We make policies today like we are making EBA. Like he said, the government just came and announced subsidy removal. Now, it is not even a crime to remove subsidy. Like he said, every other major candidate spoke about removing subsidy as a part of their manifesto. So it's not about removing the subsidy. It is about ensuring that the money that comes out from the subsidy are effectively used. We said we are removing subsidy, we are adding taxes, we are doing this. Where are the money going to? We are not seeing it in the everyday reality of the Nigerian. So it goes beyond designing those policies. How it's not a problem if citizens are paying. If I'm paying taxes, at least I can see it returning back as a form of maybe good governance. I'm paying taxes. I'm ensuring that the money I'm paying in these taxes is not ending up in the pocket of one politician somewhere. So we have to, I don't think the policy is the problem. The implementation, how these policies are taken during the Naira redesign period when they were transitioning into the new government. I was in Benue State. I visited like 3 IDP camps with my charity foundation. And you will see those in the IDP camps crying very hard. It was a very harsh period. For many of us have gone cashless. Because at that period, we could not even have access to money. You go to the bank, which sensible government makes policies without considering the direct effects? Normally, before you make policies, you should think, what is the policy process? What is the policy analysis? What direct effect would this have? You are closing the border. Have you made available enough goods that when you close the border, there are enough goods to go in? You are trying to caution importation. Have we started producing? So you see a government telling one day they want to close the border, and then the prices of goods surges. We can no longer buy rices because when we import them, they are cheaper. But when scarcity is introduced, prices goes up. A sensible government, okay, before we can close the border, let's open industries or factories to produce this product here. But you see, the government of the day, they are too quick, and I think we are very political rather than we are solving real issues. The government of the day are political. We make decisions politically. We just want to score cards. Look at it now. We have been clamoring for state police because some persons are killed. Now the state police. Now it's a very commendable thing. But what will be the implementation process? We don't just want bills passing on papers. We have seen a lot of bills come and go. What were the implementation process? We saw the electioneering bills. We saw that we can now start passing voting electronically. Did it not fail? It failed woefully. So enough of passing bills on paper. Let us see the real actual implementation and the translation into the everyday Nigerian life. So I think that I will just cap it here.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Before you speak, Mr. Kolade, we saw, because you're into real estate, right? You're an entrepreneur. Something we got the news, I think at the beginning of June, that Lagos State particularly passed a tenancy bill, because we're speaking to the rise of rent, that it would now be regulated. Do you think that can in any way? I see you just smirked, Mr. Dunayo. Do you think that in any way would, speaking from your perspective as a real estate person, do you think that will in any way curb this increase as it concerns Madam Fumi?
So I've been listening to the passion, how everybody has been pouring their heart, and even here I've also been reminiscing, I've been thinking. Everybody have said it well, right? With the question you asked, well, I would say based on the past experiences that I've had and what the government have said they would do, I'm not sure it will be implemented. And it's so, I was on a TV, I was with Mr. Abati which day, and he was almost fighting me on this thing. You guys, you developers, you guys, you. And I hear this, and that's one of the things that makes me sober, because we all know that there are basic needs. The only reason why, all of us are saying that, okay, increase in rents are fantastic, but the reason why we can all be here and talk about there's increase in rent, because at least we came from the kind of house that at least can make us talk. If Kevin had come from under the bridge, or Fumi had come from Ikeja under bridge, and you see me, I came from Obalende, do you know that we will not have this conversation here? And you see, because I'm in this field, I always like to tailor down things. When you look at what is happening in your society, you see, average Nigeria is not well mentally. And average Nigeria is not, sincerely. Because you want to look at the condition at which an average Nigerian live. Well, by the grace of God, I live in one of the maybe best neighborhood in this Lagos State. But it still baffles me some things I encounter. On my street, I have somebody that has 11 Rolls Royce. I'm not talking about Toyota. Rolls Royce. I've been to his house. I've seen the cars. Probably one of the first garages I see that has AC. Because of course, how we have 11, I don't have AC in the Rolls. You must have AC, And when I first got to the estate, I was perplexed. Like, rain will fall, I will start thinking of how to come out of my estate. So, I'm trying to tell you that this thing is touching everybody. But you see, we've talked about policy, we've talked about government, but we have to understand that there's a major role we the people are playing. There's a major role. So I used to live in a house in Abega River Valley years back. When I went to move to the house, the compound was not floored. So I told them I can't leave. He said, no, the moment you pay this money, we'll floor it. And for me, don't promise me, because you will do it. First year, I said, so after I've been saying it, the person leaving, my neighbor said, that's what they told me when I moved into. I said, it went in my own time. I made sure that they did that thing.
How? Please, I want to ask you.
Because you don't see, I'm very gentle like this, but when I want to get, you see, the truth of the matter, the truth of the matter is, you see, if you let, every one of them, somebody told me that he's been there for 6 years. When he moved in 6 years ago, that was what they told him. And the guy accepted for 6 years. See, the truth of the matter is, I would say, the Tinubu you have today, he came out to come and he was part of the citizen that protested against Jonathan. He was not the president there, so it means that the person that you are saying protesting today will get there and see, I'm telling you, see, when I'm dealing with a devil, I know I'm dealing with a devil. But when you are painting yourself to be a saint, I'm wary of you. So the problem here is not even, sincerely, see, you know, if you want to know, my friend there was saying that there's nobody that is Nigerian as he is. I just laughed. Do you know how many times I watch him and I start weeping? I'll be crying like a baby. I'll be sobbing. How did we get here? I stopped talking about Nigeria because I don't want to be depressed. Because, you see, Nigeria problem is deep yet shallow. We can't solve this problem, but the truth of the matter is, do we have the balls? Now, that my house was my Nigeria, and I insisted that what you promised me, you must deliver it.
All right, sir, I've got a question regarding rent increase. What are the bases for rent increase? Because these days, landlords just wake up and increase rent. It's not because they've increased security or anything. They haven't done any renovations, no new infrastructure to the building. They just wake up and increase rent.
Well, the basis of increasing rent, you see, one of the problems we also have in Nigeria is that there's no guideline. So you're asking me the base for increasing rent. How will I tell you when the government has not given me? So I can just wake up today and decide that my investment now needs to be increased for no reason. There's nobody here that has not been hit by that, whether even if you have your house, you rent office. So there's nobody that has not been affected by that. One of my majors, and you see, the increase of rent, actually, landlord, if I want to rate the people that are contributing to the problem, I would say the landlords, I would say maybe government 30%, landlord 20%, 50% is horse. We are the problem. See, did they bring Tinubu from Niger? Or your councillor, is it from Togo? We had the problem. Now, your house, the reason why you decided to pay your rent is not because if it's even the cost of getting another one, it's because the moment somebody is queuing for your house.
Yes, that's true.
In fact, let me tell you something. It is probably an offer that made your landlord increase his rent. I had one of my mentors, he has a house in Parkview. His house, fantastic house. That house, as at maybe even 2 years ago, was renting a duplex for 12 million. Because of what he had, he increased it to 25 million. But as at today, the value of that rent in that Parkview should not be less than 40 to 50 million. Now, he's a good man. He does not need the money. How much is 25 million to him? But an agent will come and meet him. Or Kolade will go and meet him. That why are you giving this house for 25 million when you can give it out for 50 million? I have somebody that will even pay now. Now we understand that anybody that make investments need to make profits. Your investment has to yield. So the problem here, the government, when you last you see someone who tell you to increase rent, or did you see your local government say to increase rent? The truth of the matter is that the withholding tax you are talking about, how many of us have paid it? The tax we are talking about, Nigeria. I mean, I'm not saying I mean, I talk from every angle on a fact. Let me tell you something. On a fact, compare Buhari government and Tinubu government. The inflation has been stabilized more in Tinubu's government. I build every time. When during Buhari time, I bought cement. I bought iron for 150,000. Before the man left, I bought it for 1 point something million.
How much is iron now?
Iron is 1,070,000. I buy iron every day. You see, the same way a person that is cooking will buy oil every day. That's why I buy iron every day. So I know the figure. So really, if you are being factual, if you are not being emotional, the problem we are talking about started from somewhere. You cannot, I mean, if there's nothing on earth that will make me vote for, I mean, I'm not saying anybody to vote for right now. So I'm not supporting anybody because I've been doing business for close to 20 years. I've not gotten one kobo from government before.
All right, that's very interesting.
You are agreeing with Zainab that you would not vote at all.
I will vote, but I'll rather vote for the lesser evil.
Oh,
I cannot waste my vote, but I must vote.
But okay, that is an
right,
amazing.
so-
That is amazing. Before we throw to the audience, right? You said something that this thing is touching everybody, but I want to give it to the audience now because I believe the way it is touching everybody is not the way it is touching everybody. Okay. So I want to give it to the audience now. We've heard stories from our citizens and we've heard perspective. We received perspective from our panelists, right? Let us now ask. Now, will this work in real life? You've heard their perspectives, and I believe that I saw you warming up. It felt as though you had a differing opinion on some of the things that were shared by the panelists. So let us hear from you first, sir. Just introduce yourself and then give us your feedback.
All right, my name is Thompson Tochukwu Ilodibe. I am a multi-interest author, broadcast journalist, and a religious leader. So speaking from particularly because I run a faith-based youth group. So I hear these complaints every day. And fortunately or otherwise, just about everybody still goes around complaining the issues. But I would think that part of why we're gathered today is to begin to talk solutions.
Yes.
The storytellers have told us the stories of what their reality is. The panelist has looked at it, but I would want to begin to ask, what solutions do we have? For me, I agree with some of the panelists who say, pardon me, while I'm bringing up the questions, like looking at the suggestions they've given, I also want to put out a few recommendations, all right? So let's begin to talk solutions now, all right, at this point. So one of the panelists did speak of the importance, why it's very important for us to be intentional about, not directly, about trying to call the government to account, right? Directly or indirectly. But you see, my attitude to that is, if you say that it's important that rents are reviewed, government has policies, how does it change our reality in the next 1 year? The Senate wouldn't sit in the next 6 months to sit down. They are not done with state police and other things. For over 20 years, we've been talking about state police. Amen. The point of confederacy was one of the reasons why this country went into war, the Civil War. Part of the issues were confederacy. And we're still talking about it today. State police is one of the caveats there. All right? So if we're now thinking that probably saying regulation and building cost and house of whatever is going to, it will not impact our reality in the next 1 year, not in the next 2 years, not in 3 years' time perhaps. All right? So what can the Mama Sikira, Iyatochi, and all of that do in the interim to survive this harsh economy. We all have common front. The economic situation is harsh and there. So what's the solution? I think that the thing the ordinary Nigerian must do is to refuse to accept the narrative the bourgeois want us to believe. And that's the narrative just about everybody believes, and because you hear this person say it, you keep saying it. They want you to believe that you are helpless. They want you to believe that you are handicapped. But that's not the truth. An average Nigerian is not handicapped. Once your brains are functioning, you are not handicapped. But there is a narrative being pushed to make us grow the mindset that we can do nothing for ourselves. This narrative became the narrative of South Africans. I want to do a comparative analysis now. And they lived that narrative for a long time until some people began to speak out. They speak out so clearly and resisted all forms of oppression to shut down and change the mindset. But they insisted. Today, apartheid ended, right? Because some individuals believed on a different part of belief system. So I think number one is we as Nigerians should choose to believe that a life of decency is a right, not a privilege. That way you will stop clapping for a politician who sinks a borehole in the neighborhood and then expect you to go and clap for what? What am I clapping for you for? I mean, it's crazy. Some African leaders, I don't want to mention name, went for one summit somewhere, and all they are shouting is how they are doing coastal road. I mean, American president wouldn't talk about that. These are called social amenities. All right. So I think number one is a shift in our mentality, which makes us think that we are incapable, we are handicapped. And guess what? The people pushing this narrative are very intentional. Don't make mistakes about it. And that's why they will spend to hijack the media. So that you don't have opportunity to speak consistently for a while. Because the next thing I was going to say is that while you choose to believe a different narrative, also make sure that nothing shuts you down. Because once your voice is taken away, your identity is lost. And it requires for you to keep saying the things you believe and say it consistently enough over a long period before it begins to sink. Ask me, will Jackbab solve all the problems? Oh, maybe on the interim. You have some cold air. I mean, you can pay your... Until when they remind you that you are kwere, like it's happening in South Africa. Because it will happen. Go to Europe, it's already happening. There is already... So I am thinking, while I might not be as an ardent believer to the Nigerian project, like my brother who is a panelist,
Yeah.
I'm just saying that whether you are in China or you are in Hong Kong or you are in Cameroon or you are in Nigeria or wherever you are, can we as people come up with the decision, be intentional to change our perception first, shift our mindset, whether you've escaped the Nigerian, somebody called it one name. I don't want to believe in that name, that Nigeria is a zoo. I don't believe in that, all right? But these are different, we are saying the same thing in different ways. Whether you have left the jungle, all right, you are now in Canada and you can breathe, it doesn't mean your voice should be shut.
Yeah.
All right? So we must come together as one, speak consistently over a period of time, then we'll be heard. Well, as the conversation continues, I still have a few suggestions.
Okay, so you spoke about changing our mindset, right? We all here, we've heard you, we know that we should change our mindsets. But the Agbero on the road, he doesn't know anything about that. So how do we get to them? How do we get them to begin to change their mindset?
If I still have a few more minutes, I can go on a little bit on that.
I think we'd like to hear from...
Oh, okay, great. So, I mean, if there's any further...
Yeah, we'll circle back. Yes, definitely.
The Agbero, the Mamankechi in the markets, they don't really know so much about what is going on. So if you're even to say we need to change our mindset, how do we get to these people to change their mindset?
All right, thank you very much. My name is Emmanuel Akindubua. I'm also a media personality. I'm a Nigerian, a very proud one at that. Despite our challenges, I still believe Nigeria would definitely come true at some point.
You believe in Project Nigeria?
Yeah, and I believe conversations like this is bringing us closer to the reality that we have a problem, and it's only Nigerians who are going to fix the problems that we have. I would commend the storytellers. They captured the reality of many Nigerians very well, from the struggle with housing to transportation, feeding, running businesses, security, not having a very structured plan for our children. I think these are concerns that we cannot wave away as Nigerians. And I think the panelists have also touched on some of the realities and the policies or the decisions by government that have made it appear to be a very huge setback for us. I want to agree that the policies of the current government have not been well thought out. I also want to agree that there are not enough buffer system that could have handled the impact. I think that's what Mr. Emmanuel emphasized on, that there are not enough buffer system for some of these policies. But the only way aspect that I would want to touch on, starting from the question, how do we change the narrative? How do we bring the lower class?
Yeah.
I wouldn't want to say Agberos. Let me just say those who are in the lower class of the society, how they can get into changing their mindset. I think it's something that would take some time and some level of consistency. Mr. Kolade did say something that was very profound. In your own corner of this country, insist on doing the right things. And I think that's one message that we cannot all shy away from. Insist on doing the right thing. Don't throw garbage on the road. Insist that that is respected. How many of us even attend our CDA meetings? How many of us are even very interested in the welfare and the well-being of our communities? How many of us do we have to bang our gates several times before we pay our security levy? So I think these are little things we overlook that snowball into the major crisis that we are witnessing now. Another thing I also want to touch on is, as Nigerians, we don't want to be accountable. We shy away from accountability too much. And when you belong to a society where people do not want to be accountable, you will not make any progress. I mean, why are you doing this? It becomes, what right do you have to question me? Why are you driving like this? We go on the defensive. So it's a problem. It's a problem that I think they are there. But I think what my co-audience have said is that let's start looking at the solutions. The government is not doing enough. We all agree. The government is not looking at the welfare and the well-being of people. I believe that the first statement of the Nigerian Constitution, that the government shall be responsible for the welfare and the well-being of the people. To that, they've not been true. And of course, secondly, let me also touch on the subsidization, which was removed. I think it's a very, very unfair move by the current administration. There is no country in the world, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, where the government does not offer some form of subsidization for basic amenities. I mean, and that is really what government is there for, to balance the interest, to create that leveler so that the impact between the rich and the poor is at least managed. But I think the government coming up to say it's removing subsidy and they not create, we don't even know if our refineries are going to work. We don't have stable power for small businesses to run and for vehicles to move around. We do not have an efficient transport system. I think the government got it wrong in that instance. And for the government to not admit 3 years on till now, it's created a whole lot of chaos. I mean, I would want to say at some point I also considered leaving Nigeria, but I felt somehow I held on to the hope that maybe the current administration now, when it was campaigning, will come up with some magic strokes or some magic wand that could change things from the previous government. But I mean, it appeared to be otherwise. So the last point I would just want to make is that we represent different strata of the society. I'm actually happy that one of the contributors is also a man who speaks from the pulpit. I think we must take, and we also have an educationist here. So that means we have a platform to begin to advocate for change. As a media person, let's insist on asking the right questions. Let's not do PR journalism. Let's not water down on the key questions. As a religious leader, preach conscience to power. As an educator, try to inspire the next generation on civic responsibility.
So before we go to the storytellers, right, we're just about to hear from you. We want to see how this affects them, because she spoke about rent, she spoke about how she's lost hope in Nigeria because nothing is working, she's lost hope in the government, and then she spoke about how her business infrastructure is suffering. What do you really think that they can take away from here that would at least cause a change? Because Mr. Thompson just told us, he said, when we're talking solutions, right, how would it impact their life in the next 1 year at the very least? So practically, what do you think? What do you think they can take?
Oh, thank you. I'm Toby Shino. I build softwares. So basically, I think we got it wrong from the foundation. I think one of the panelists made mention of foundation being bad. I'm a firm believer on once the bedrock is faulty, no matter what you build on it, it's going to go bad, right? And I believe we have square pegs in round holes. Once you miss the leadership positions, right, you miss every other thing. I think at our core, we're all animals, right? What makes us different from the goat outside is just because of the laws. Take away the laws and we'll do every other thing that the animals out there do. Yeah, you want consequences for actions, okay? But again, when you look at the leadership, I think the buck stops at their table. If they can make laws that would not only, I don't want to use the word cage, if they can make laws that would tame not just we the citizens, the average citizen, but also the political leaders. If you can make laws and say, for instance, no politically elected citizen should ever travel abroad for medical emergencies, that will fix the health sector.
Yes.
If you make a law that no politician should ever have their child school abroad, that will fix the educational sector. The only reason why all these sectors I'm mentioning are suffering right now, those who make the laws don't bear the brunt. They don't feel the pains of all these things. When your own child is at home, because of ASU strike and all of that, I think that has happened a while now. It does not, happen like before. Their own children are not at home. When you go to medical centers like the FMCs or LASUT or the federal centers, you're looking for the best healthcare, right? They don't use those facilities. When anything happens, they're up on the plane and then they're out of the country. Their priority is different from yours. One of the panelists said we are the problem. Yeah, I believe we are the problem, but again, that's like telling a child who cries that baby, you are the problem of this house. No, that is a baby. If I were to be the president, right, then I accept that, oh, okay, you voted me in, then I'm the problem. But I don't have any power to change what's going on up there. I believe if you can make laws that would control our excesses as humans. I don't want to use the word animals now because I believe biologically we're all animals, right? And the only reason why we're not going overboard is because there are consequences for actions. And if you look at the environment, if you look at the Western world, right? We use them a lot when we want to refer to a working system. The only reason why they have a functioning society is because there are consequences for action. I picked my younger brother up some times ago, and then I was driving, I was switching lanes, just like the normal Lagosian would drive. and he was panicking. He was like, bro, why are you switching lanes like this? I was like, are you okay? When did you travel out? This is how we drive. It was not comfortable, right? Because it was coming from an environment where if you do things like that, there will be consequences for your action.
All right, so you said something that you do not agree with him when he said that we are the problem. But I totally agree with him that we are the problem, because when someone treats you poorly, to an extent, right, after a while, if you keep accepting that treatment, after a while, you become responsible for that treatment. We have been experiencing bad governance for ages. Since I was born, we have been experiencing bad governance. I've been hearing that Nigeria will be better, but it never gets better. And so if we keep, the fact that we have become used to this bad governance, we have become so used to hardship, makes us part of the problem. In fact, the root cause of the problem, because I believe that if someone has treated you badly, after a while, you should be able to retaliate. The truth is, the power belongs to us, the citizens, not the government. We have the power to create the change that we so much desire in this country. How many people are in the government? How many people are there? Can you compare them to the number of citizens, ordinary citizens we have in the country? You cannot. The truth is, we have the power. We can create the change. So currently, we are the problem. Talk about the cost of living right now. Everyone is adjusting, and it is really frustrating. I actually lost it when sachet water, pure water, rose from 20 naira to 50 naira. I had a total crash out when I went to buy the water. And it was so heartbreaking to see that.
Did you buy it?
No, I didn't buy it that day. I didn't. I was so mad that I could not buy it. I went back home. I didn't have water to drink for the rest of the day. It was so frustrating, and I could not imagine that everybody just accepted sachet water for 50 naira.
The next day, did you drink water?
Well, the next day, because nobody was frustrated, nobody was talking, nobody was doing anything, I had no other option than to
You
go
don't
and
have
buy
the power
it.
to change it. The only power we hold as a citizen is when we go to the polls, right? If you don't want to...
No, I don't think so.
Sorry, hold up. Mr. Emmanuel, please hold up. You said the only power we have is when we go to the polls. He has a separate opinion. Let's hear from you, please, before we throw to the storytellers.
So I think that I want to put perspective to that statement that Nigerians are the problem. The president is a Nigerian. The citizens are Nigerians. So when we talk about leadership at the top, like one of the co-panelists said, the president started first as a Nigerian. He was not yet a president some years back. If we also have opportunity to serve in such positions, are we sure that we will do better? So leadership begins from our own everyday life. What principles do we have, or are we building as a people? We talk about the rising cost of sachet water. We talk about the rising cost of transportation. There was a time that fuel went up and there was a surge in transportation. When fuel came down, the transportation cost never come down. Nothing goes down in Nigeria because there are people affecting. If rain falls in Nigeria today, buses will become so costly because there are people that will capitalize on that rain and increase the transportation. Is it the government? So I'm saying it's both efforts.
Sorry.
We have
before
to
we
play
continue,
both roles.
Yes, before
so
we continue,
to put in, okay.
Before we take that again, right? We have heard from the audience, we've heard from the panelists, and we really want to find out how this translates practically to a solution that some of the storytellers can work with. Right, Zainab, does this mean anything to you? I mean, your realities, tell us, have you benefited anything from this conversation that when you leave here, it would impact you?
Really, I hear everything, but I'm not saying, but I've tried.
What exactly would you take away from here for you personally that would change your life?
I think...
Is there any solution that can improve your current situation right now?
About Nigeria, you say you've lost faith in Nigeria.
I think I will be concerned later if I will change my mind, but not.
If I may ask, what is that one change that if you see it in Nigeria will give you hope again?
For all what everybody said, I can even think about it.
No, I'm asking you that if there's one thing...
Sorry, hold on. We'll take that again, that question.
That changes Nigeria. Okay.
Zainab, please use the mic so we can hear you. Please ask again.
Okay, my question to the storyteller is, You've said you lost hope in the country for obvious reasons, some of you expect. But what is that one thing that if they change it to Nigeria would give you hope again? Maybe in terms of the economy, or maybe in terms of the policy direction of the government, that if they can change this, maybe for example, make child health care free in every local government, would that make you feel, yes, we're getting it right?
All those, like, transportation is going down. So,
okay, so Zainab, are you Yoruba or?
Then we can speak.
Are you
You
Yoruba?
can speak pidgin if you want
Are
to,
you
so that we
Yoruba?
can understand.
Where are you from? No, so because
amenities that affect her.
because I feel that she will express herself better in.
I'm fine.
I think,
I'm fine.
No, see, I believe that sincerely, living from this conversation, everything everybody has been saying, Zainab is like, maybe he feels it more. Now, our madam that is here, she's going to drive with her car home. You probably are, even if you are not driving your car, you take a taxi. Zainab is probably going to go home with a normal means. Now, I want to say that I want to know, I just want you to express yourself. And if that is going to be a problem, what I would say is, we are talking about the leader and the follower. Nigeria is like a plane. And inside a plane, I'm sure every one of us have traveled here. The, what do they call them? The pilots, they call them one name.
Cockpit, those are the cockpit.
Yeah, the pilots and the cabin crews. Yes, thank you. The cabin crews are usually fewer, but the cabin crew will not tell you where you are going. You will want to go to the plane that is going to where you are going. You see one problem we have not identified here, and it's close to what he has said. What is the Nigerian dream? So that is a problem until we get to a point that everybody can, for example, even a kid know what is American dream. Yeah. We don't know, and until we get to that point, we have not even begun. So Zainab, if it's Yoruba or English or Pidgin, I want you to free to be, because actually English is not our language.
So
they want to go home, Abi.
That
They will lock your gate.
So they will lock your gate.
But I've answered the question
It's an
already,
actual
so-
issue. But before we move on to Bolu, right, Madam Bolu, what is that one thing now for you that if it changes, you feel like it will be better for you? Just one thing for you now personally, that maybe as you're going back, or if you go and meet it when you go back, it's better for you, your business, or what is it? What type of help do you think if you receive it now, right now, your life will be better? What type of help what would that look like for you?
From the government.
Sure. What government want to provide for me? Nothing.
They
don't do anything. Government cannot do anything for me. Since they born me, government not do anything. So I not grow up. Government wants to do something.
Let's assume, right, that they could do one thing now. What would it be?
It has spoiled already. They don't need to do anything. They are born already. They did not do anything. Now they say what will change? Nothing will change.
You know what is sad is that this is the opinion of a lot of Nigerians.
But I want to now hear from Madam Bolu. What would that be? Yes, let's hear from you. What is that one thing that you would receive now that would feel like, you know what, this is it, my life will change?
Okay, so for me, I would say that when the government when the government makes good macroeconomic policies that can trickle down to the masses, to people like us, and now not just policies that they just throw open, policies that would really curb down the inflation costs, policies that would address our basic needs, basic amenities like the transportation cost, fueling. The major thing is fuel. And then food security. Because even though we are talking about rents, we are talking about the road, repair the road, we are talking about security, food. We need food to survive. The cost of food stuff is very expensive. So if the government can just sit down and, when they bring on board the stakeholders, because I know we have the ERP plan, we have the NDP plan, different developmental policies and plans that the government. Don't just bring the elites on board. Don't just bring the professors, the business stakeholders, the manufacturing gurus, and all of them. Bring the people in the grassroots. Let's have town hall meetings. Go to your local governments. Go to the state government. I think now we have town halls everywhere. Go there, hear what the masses are saying.
Also, we'll come to that. So before we take that, right? We'll get there. I want to hear from Madam Fumi.
People like to read. My own, let me say, what will make things better for me, let me just say, is to go back to firing squad. Let there be harsh consequences for actions. Because let me tell you something, we can keep doing to range from today to tomorrow, do policy, sit down, inside AC, collect money, collect our share. And I asked one funny question in the beginning. Does an average Nigerian lawmaker have a side hustle? Because I'm adding side hustle to my own side hustle now to pay all the extra bills that I have. Do they have a side hustle? Let's go back to firing squad. If somebody has embezzled money or snake has swallowed money, let's tie them to the pole and shoot them down. You see, the reason is that, and I go back to China. China has a population bigger than Nigeria as well. But because that country, like someone was mentioning earlier on, the lawmakers, they tell them, and if you go and watch documentaries about China, you see it, the lawmakers tell their children, if your children cannot be schooling in America, you can't become an elected official. If you want to become an elected official, bring your children to school in the system and live in the system in China. It's there. So go on YouTube, it's there. So until we have those consequences for actions, when I begin to see it, all this one about saying laws, those laws exist. Nobody is implementing them. We don't need any new law. We don't need any new policy. It's for implementation. And if they say that this local government chairman has taken money, or this government is not releasing money to local government chairman, this one that somebody say cannot speak Yoruba, tie it to the iron, translate it for me. Why? Because I am already paying for what I should pay for. I'm already paying for what I should pay for. And you see, when you say things like, oh, I'm supposed to enter my car, let me tell you, when I was coming down from where I was coming from, Ibejuleki, my car was already reading red. Tomorrow morning, I'm not carrying my car. I'm traveling out of Lagos tomorrow. I'm not carrying my car anywhere. And ideally, because when you see me with my madam and my big jeep, and when I carried my car, I was not even to flex, just to be able to move around. I don't have to carry Uber and carry all those things. So don't even think that, like I said earlier, that this pancake. And I'm asking again, does the Nigerian lawmaker have extra side hustle? They don't, because they earn more money than they should. And they are there marrying 7 wives and justifying what should not be justified. Tie them to the iron. When they go to their constituency and you find, we don't have to wait for 4 years to vote to them again. Sir, this is your constituency. They gave you 3 billion. Tell us what you did. You did not show. Bo did not show. This one did not show. This one. And like you said, nobody's asking. I don't want to live in a luxury. I don't want to have 11 Rolls Royce, sir. More need there. I just need to be able to have lights, generator. A generator do not need to be dying. So, for example, now in my house, they said my generator, they've said I should use 100,000 naira to repair it. I've had my inverter for 4 years, but I've been patching it. The inverter has already died. Now, they said I should bring 400,000 naira to buy new batteries for the inverter. I'm only one person. Do you understand? So, at the end of the day, let there be consequences for action, and it must start from the top. So, if you're a senator and you have embezzled money, snake has swallowed money, monkey have entered your office, you are the monkey, be shot to death. Guess what? What will happen is that people who are just, people run away from the country. And you see all this democracy thing that Bible do up and down. That's why the people will say, they'll say, Paul Kagame, Rwanda is working. That's why they'll say China, the Americans to do, the Chinese, China is working. Chinese are the ones that are building the railway in this country now. We should go and look at their country and see how it is working. It is working because there's no two-ranging when you want to sit down to enter a home meeting with who. Two-ranging of sitting down to be sitting with who? You will sit there, you put them inside a hotel, you will share money for them, then nothing when it comes to implementation. Why the state police work now? And even the state police issue, like somebody had mentioned earlier, now the thugs, we pay a lot of levies in this place. I was talking about my car. I had to tow my car. I was paying a levy from Chevron till we got to Yaba, even to put the damn car, that's not minus the money I'll pay the towing vehicle to put the car into the garage. We're paying. Who is paying for all those illegal fees? Marketplace. This Zainab now, she's not telling you. In her POS stand, before she put umbrella there, they will collect money from her. They will collect money every goddamn day. Who is talking about that? Then you want me to sit down with a town hall meeting with you? We already know people that are responsible. Tie them to the string and let them die with their families. And if at the end of the day somebody's going to protest and you say because of ICC, Russia used to poison spies, or they will put handshake and Abia did we kill Abacha. Let all those people go so that I knew Nigeria can work. It is the truth. Some people have to go for the country to work.
I mean, sorry.
policy mindset change. Guess what? The people that have the problem with mindset change are people like you and I. You see all those marketing men and Nagbero, they have no issues at all. Once we change with the Alakawe, the Oyibo speaking people, once we change with the so-called elites, once we change, those market people will change. Once we change, who is funding the lifestyle of the Agbero? It's you and I. And the Agberos want to be like you guys too. They want to oppress like you guys too. So they're going to change. So the people that their mindset is harder to change, when you're asking that question, it's people like you and I that even have some basic educations. We are the toughest people to change. Even the religious people, they're the worst to change. Preaching prosperity every day inside church. They are not telling me here now that you want to have town hall meeting. With town hall, there'll be blah blah blah. What's different about the town hall? Please take your microphone.
So I mean, conversations like this need to happen, honestly, right? Conversations like this need to happen, and they would continue, right? It is not a one-off. It's a conversation that will keep on happening, right? Just like was spoken with some of us earlier, it's important that this conversation, I think it's important that we keep speaking, right? We can see that passions are high, because the reality is dawning on us, it's touching everybody. And even as Mr. Kolade said, it's touching everybody. We know that it is touching each of us here. Our pain points are different, and we have to be very honest, you know. The way it's touching me is not the way it's touching Mr. Emmanuel or Mr. Kolade with living with 11 Rose Rest Place. So this is it. This is what we're saying. We've heard what survival costs, and it is costing the very lifeblood of every Nigerian. We are paying this in blood, whether we like it or not, and we're paying it. It's so funny that I believe we're paying it forward. Whatever policy has been implemented, whatever sufferings we're seeing, we're paying it in the future. We're paying it with 10 years into the future. All of the sufferings that we're experiencing now. We've heard this, and we've heard from the storytellers, we've heard from the panelists, and I want to say a big thank you, and also to the audience as well, for sharing a lot of outstanding insight. It's been really, really quite engaging. Yeah, Kevin?
All right, so Zainab said that we've been talking and nothing has changed, so what's the point of all of this? And she also said we've been having town halls, so what's the point? Yeah, I would say this, we can't stop talking about it. We need to keep talking about it. We need to keep creating awareness. This year, I have seen great increase in awareness among the youth. We now have a lot of youth who are talking about politics on social media. So our talking over the years, like the talking of the millennials over the years, it's paying off, because us, the Gen Zs, we're grabbing it, we're picking it up, and we're taking up the mantle as well. And then regarding Zainab losing faith in the government and not wanting to vote, I get it. A lot of Nigerians are that way, and they say my vote does not count, so why should I vote? And I want to say this, your vote counts actually. That is why they're doing everything possible to ensure that you do not vote, because your vote actually counts. So the focus should not be whether or not our votes count, but finding ways to ensure that our vote actually counts, that we monitor the vote. So I think that you should actually exercise some level of faith in this country. I actually believe in Nigeria, and the truth is I believe that it is not the government who's going to create the change. It has been proven over time that the government will not create the change. We are the ones who are going to create the change. The power belongs to us. We have the power. So we need to start thinking, what do we need to do? What steps do we need to take? Apart from the election, what other things do we need to do to ensure that we bring about this change? That is all on today's conversation on the Briefing Room Town Hall.
Today we heard what survival costs. We heard the weight many Nigerians carry in silence.
But we also heard something else. We heard resilience, we heard determination, and we heard ideas that could make a difference.
The truth is that Nigerians are not helpless. We're builders. We're workers, parents, entrepreneurs, dreamers, and citizens. And Nigeria's future can not only be discussed by the powerful, it must also be shaped by the people living its realities every single day.
Thank you for joining us today. You can catch the brand new episode of The Briefing Room every Wednesdays and Fridays on YouTube. You can also follow this conversation using the information on your screen. It has been such a great time on The Briefing Room Town Hall.